Next thing, wiring. Obviously there's quite a bit to do because that is the original Rover 800 Vitesse wasted spark engine loom. This here is a K-series standard 1.8, I think that's for BRM, so it does have VBC. And the reason I've got this, I bought this for 30 quid off eBay because I wanted, where is it, this plug here. That is what would have allowed a number of systems from the VBC engine loom to communicate with the cabin. In here we have rev counter, which is black and white in there somewhere, or it might be dead black, or it's probably one of them two up there. Same as old Lucas wiring for Rover SD1s and coils and things. We'll also have speed, reverse lights, stuff like that. That plug will plug back into the car loom here and then clip nicely onto there, I think. So that I want, that will be nice and original. The other reason I wanted it is because on the K-series, the charge warning light, power, start, everything runs through the engine loom. On the 800 Vitesse, that would have been on a separate loom, and of course all of that is missing. So I need the pickup from the alternator. That one goes to the instrument cluster. That one goes to the charge and start circuit in there somewhere. That one. So I need to strip that out. I also need to work out how to run the fuel pump relay and some of the other relays as well. So on the car, can't remember, that might be a fan relay, can't remember. On the 800 Vitesse, that is the lambda sensor relay, O2 relay. On the K series, that would have been in the MEMS combined module, which was basically 4 relays, which would have plugged on there. The fuel pump relay would have been in there, so with the main power to the ECU relay, and I can't remember what the other one was, fans or ABS or aircon or something. So none of that is in this loom apart from the oxygen sensor. Everything else would have been in the Rover 800 body shell loom. So there's some fucking around to do to try and make up a set of relays to switch power to that loom to run the engine. All rather complicated. It's going to take me some time to go through it all, and to help me I have got the old Rave CD and wiring diagrams. So the plan is to go through this and remind myself. I did start marking it up, but I've totally forgotten what's what. Do that again with some new tape and a pen so I know what's what. Same on there. Start opening this loom up, get the bits out I need, work out what is not in the car or in that loom that I do need, and then make it. Right, so here we have wiring diagrams for the Rover 800 petrol loom. This is probably the most helpful one to start with. Engine power distribution, engine compartment, fuse box, all that sort of clobber. And then what I've also got to help me is this one, which gives you pictures of where each of the plugs are and what they do. So the one that I was interested in, 162, that chunky one there, which has all of the pinouts. I've been going through the various wiring diagrams, writing down which is which, so that I know which wires in that plug do what, and then I can follow them and keep them. So it's going to be a boring laborious process, and I don't even know that I'm going to get it right, but at least I'm going to have a go. And then once I fuck it up, set fire to things, I'll call an auto electrician. This is taking forever, but I'm getting there. The reason I'm doing it this way is because although I could chuck that on and feed stuff to it, I kind of want to reuse nice neat plugs and things. So it's just like, as an illustration, that is the temp sensor that goes to the dash. That plug and wire will be in that loom somewhere for that car. It is probably, oh, I can't remember now, but Where is it? Well, anyway, it'll be in there somewhere, and basically it's a lot neater if I can pick this apart and then put that wire to the engine, but running up through this loom to that plug and into the car. Save having loads of random wires cut and soldered together. Probably boring you with this, but another, like, just evidence of this. That's the reverse wires in the K-series engine loom, which goes to that nice plug, which I know goes to my car body loom nicely. In this loom, it's those two, and they would have run up to that plug, which, although it looks similar, is different, because this is the female side and that's the male side, so you can't fit this to my car bulkhead. So that is why I'm doing it. So when I come to fit this engine loom, I'll take all of that insulation off, and I'll take this reverse wire out of there and put this one in. Hope that makes sense. It's amazing what you forget about. So that I've discussed at labour, it's kind of like a skeleton loom. It just does the engine, doesn't do charging, doesn't do starting, doesn't do anything like that. The K-series loom, it's all entwined, which is great, because that there is the starter to the solenoid that pulls the solenoid in, which then allows the starter to engage and then connect to the high power, and then it turns. This is the plug that would have gone to the control module in the engine bay for the K-series engine, which has the starter relay inside of it. So that's the big chunky brown purple there. So if I can get the right relay, I can potentially use that. So in the engine bay, it'll all look standard, so that relay will mount here somewhere, and I'll use the gubbins inside that to run this loom, and that is just doing the engine. So yeah, I now need to track down the right relay. It's a few weeks later since whatever you last watched. The car has moved again, not under its own power. I had to push it around here, but basically there was no room out the front. I have now got the MEMS relay pack, so that's original to this type of car. I didn't have one because obviously when I got the car it didn't have a K-series engine in it. This is the original K-series relay that works with the K-series engine loom, which is the bit I was missing from here. It would plug on up there somewhere. So this is what I'm going to use as the relay pack to run the Rover 800 engine loom, because the Rover 800 would have had all of this in the body loom, whereas the Rover 200 doesn't. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, this is out of a 200 BRM, which would have been 1.8 K-series and probably had aircon as well. I just need to double check it works, because I bought it off eBay as an unknown for like 15 quid. So I've got my power probe plugged to a battery, and I'm just going to energize the various coils with my multimeter plugged across the outputs, and just to see if I get continuity and the switches close. Also bought myself some little crocodile clips because I was running out of hands and fingers to do stuff. So I'll set that up and maybe I'll test one, and you can hopefully hear that go beep, and I know that that particular relay in that relay pack is good. So once again, I bet you can see a reflection of me with my little hat on because it's cold, and I'm sitting on a bit of wood because the ground is very cold, so I'm insulating myself somewhat. That is our relay pack. What I've done is written out according to the wiring description what each of the pins is in colour, and just double checked that with my loom and my relay. Then I'm going back to this diagram, and what I want to do is just use the power probe to close each of these switches and make sure that they do actually close. So I'm going to connect my multimeter across C157-6, which is this plug. This is the C157, that's 154, and the 6th pin, which is that one, which should be no, sorry, that one, brown red, and like saying it should be brown slate, and then it goes out to 1578, which is brown pink. And then to close that, we need to energize that coil there, which gets power but is earthed through white pink. So I'm going to set that up with my crocodile clips, my power probe, and then just press the trigger, and hopefully we'll hear that click and that go beep. Might not be able to record it. Okay, so here we go. Here's our first test. We are testing the main relay. So I've got my multimeter connected C1576 and the other side of it C1578. So that switch should be open, and that's why there's no continuity at the moment, and that is across these two. But as soon as I give power across the coil, which is in at the same point but earthed by white pink, it should close the coil. White pink is number 3, which is that one there. So hopefully we should hear a click and that should go beep. If I can... No, it might be that it's just not able to draw enough current, but oh, there we go, it did click. I actually heard it click. I think it's just bad. There we go, perfect. Right, so that relay works, and I'm just going to go through all the others. I'm just going to go through all the others, check that they work too. If you haven't seen one of these before, they're brilliant for electrical diagnostics. You connect it across the battery. It comes with a little fly lead, which is the earth, and then you just connect it across stuff, and when it's made a circuit, the little LED will light up green on there, and then when you give it power, it'll go red and it should energize stuff. So they're very handy. Right, I'm going to do that, and then I probably won't record much. I'm just going to get on with turning that nest into something sensible around the engine bay. I lied, I said I wasn't going to do any more filming of this, but I found something mildly interesting. The fuel pump relay, you can hear it clicking, but it doesn't ever say zero ohms. I don't know whether you'll be able to hear the click, but it's clicking inside. So the relay switch is closing, but what it doesn't do is tell the multimeter that there's continuity and that the switch is actually closed. I don't know whether that is just because you've got a resistor in there and it's switching a fuel pump, so maybe there's some clever gubbins going on in there that I don't understand. But if I have a problem switching the fuel pump, I might go looking at that circuit again. So this is why I'm checking these things now like this, because if the car doesn't start, I know where I might have an issue. So that's one of them. I'll have to remember that. The mystery deepens. I got as far as checking the starter relay one. Again, it should just be switched by a coil, but when I plug my multimeter across, my power probe against 1546 and 1544, I get absolutely zilch. You can't even hear the relay switching. So I'm having a closer look at how this works, and I shall report back. It's getting towards the end of the day. The sun is going down. It's getting colder. And I've made a rather irritating discovery. Do you remember when I was checking this out with the relay, checking the relays worked when I energized it, and sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't, and I thought it was something to do with the resistors? I don't think it is. I don't think this relay works the same way as the diagrams suggest it should, because I've just been manually closing that relay there with my finger, which is this one here, which should be giving power or continuity between those brown and slate wires and the 2 brown and pink wires, and it doesn't. Nor is there continuity between those 2 brown wires, those 2 I'm pointing with the corner, all of which makes me think that despite this having the right part number, it doesn't work with this diagram. And what's really strange is that's the VVC MEMS unit, which this purports to be. If I go up to the non-VVC MEMS, the wiring diagram is the same. So again, it says if you pull that relay closed, then you should get power out to this side, which should power the oxygen relay and those 2 up there. But this does not do that, so something's gone wrong, and I think it's basically I've bought the wrong relay. got cold outside, so I gave up and came inside because this relay definitely doesn't do what it should be doing. At the moment, I've only tested one of the little relays, but basically I'm connecting 4 and 5 pins in this plug, which don't or shouldn't relate to really anything to do with the same relay. 4 should be part of the starter relay and 5 should be part of the O2 relay, and that can't be right, and neither can the fact that it's not switching either of 7 or 5, or it just doesn't make sense. So this relay cannot be that relay, which is annoying because then I've got to try and find one. Making progress. I can use this relay, but I will have to mess around with a lot of the pins. Basically, my relay, I need something that switches 2 circuits at the same time, so this actually does it. Those 2 bottom relays are linked. You can see them both pulling in when I just energise one thing, which is good. So one could act as the main relay pulled in by that, which would then switch this coil on, which would close that, which is the oxygen. I don't actually need the oxygen sensor because it's in my engine loom, but I can use the power out to the rest of my loom. So those 2, 3 and 4 linked, these 2, I can use as my main relay and an auxiliary one, and then the other 2 I need to check that they are definitely independent, but they can be the fuel pump and the starter. Yeah, all rather complicated. Arse about face. The neatest solution will still be to buy the right relay, but at least I know I can make it work if I need to. Getting there. That is all bits of the 1.8K series loom that I don't need. So that can go down there. There's the 800 engine loom. There's the rest of the K series loom with the charging, the starting and sensors. So now I'm going to put them in the engine bay and start joining the 2 together. I'm starting with the K series loom because I know where those components go. So that's where the MEMS relay will go. I've plugged it into the fuse box with the 1 power line, which was that one there. I've routed the starter and starter main power, so the trigger and the actual positive down here. That's the main power back from the alternator. So I need with that to run the one that switches on the instrument warning light and energizes the fields in the alternator, which is that one. So I need to uncoil that, unroute it from here and then go around the back, and then this plug I'll position up there, routed correctly through here, and then I can start offering up the 800 loom. The wiring fest continues. I've got started at the alternator end, joining the alternator with the coolant temperature stuff and the lambda. That runs over here. It looks a bit gammy, but that's how it originally was. You can see like the fretting from where the wiring loom used to rub between the back of the cam belt cover and the braiding. I might move it to this side. I haven't decided yet, so none of it's fixed yet. But basically, that's the 800 lambda sensor, and I'll probably mount that on a bracket up here maybe, or somewhere over there, don't know. The rest of it is now going to run under the back and around to here, and as I put the 2 looms together, I'm just going to tape it so that it lies nicely, and then most of my terminations will be in here and down here. Morning, it's another day. It's dry again, and basically last night I went through that relay and discovered that the relay I bought doesn't work in the same way I think it should have done. And basically when I got some help from Mr. Furious Driving, he took photos of the relay in his car and it has a different part number. So the relay I bought is from a BRM, but for some reason there's some other switching going on inside that's not compatible with a normal K-series loom. So I've bought the right one, but it won't arrive for a while, but I'm going to continue on the assumption that it's all going to work fine once I get the right relay. I now need to continue connecting things up. One of them was this ECU needs not only the big power, but it also needs a light green permanent 12 volt with ignition and crank for some reason. So I'm going to take that from the wire that used to run the fuel pump relay in the MEMS for the coil for that, because the way they work is kind of similar. So it tees off there, and that would have gone to my old ECU, and that's the one that's now going to do this ECU. So I'm just going to carry on taping up things, marking things, then I'll take the whole loom out and solder it all together. This is the advantage of having everything unraveled from its looms, and although it looks a spaghetti mess, it's starting to make sense. That's the wire I need to connect to here, but actually if I pull it through, I think it actually comes up to here anyway, so I can pull that through and then route it along here. Makes for, I don't know, neater job. It's the same story with this black purple, which would have switched the fuel pump relay. Again, it used to go from the ECU all the way around there and back again for some reason, because now all it needs to do is come out and then go into the MEMS pack here. So just chasing it through and pulling it through, and then it can loop along there. Change of scenery again. Got to the soldering stage, so I'm down in the workshop and I'm just gonna, well, basically solder stuff together. It's too windy to do it outside, it's cold, so I've only got a 30-watt soldering iron, so some of the bigger cables I might struggle if I was doing it outside. It's going well, haven't burnt myself too much, although I did get quite a good one there. This little thing is dead handy. I got it from Aldi or Lidl with that soldering iron, but it holds things for you while you solder them together, so it's incredibly useful. I'm going to attempt to show live soldering, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it one-handed. We shall have a go. This soldering iron is a 30-watt jobby, so it can take a bit of time. Plus I've kind of worn it out, so the solder doesn't want to take so much anymore, but that's pretty good. One-handed soldering. So yeah, just working my way through it, trying to make the flow of the wires as neat as possible so I don't get any bunches. Well, I was doing quite well. I got the loom back in the engine bay and I've started buttoning things down like earths, and I got to the power part. There's one thing that doesn't make sense. That there goes into my engine loom, and it's basically the power back from the alternator. According to the wiring diagrams, that should go to the 80 amp fusible link, which is there. But I already have a wire going into there, which is that one, which goes into my car loom, probably to the interior fuse box. So unless somebody, when they took this apart, undid the fuse box and then put it back together again very nicely, I'm struggling to work out how that should go. Maybe it goes inside, I don't know. The other way of doing it is just attach it to the positive terminal, because it will be providing power to the same place, just the other side of the fusible link. So I don't know, a bit of a head scratcher. It's now also decided to rain, which is very annoying, so I'm going to pack up for the moment and do some thinking. It's really pissing it down now, which is a shame, because that's kind of stopped me from doing any more work. What I will do while I can't get near the car is some of the plugs on the injector loom are damaged, so I've just hacked out a really nice plug from the remains bits of loom I don't need, and I'll go down the workshop and at least I can fix this bit. Still raining, but I made a discovery. If you open the fuse box, you can clearly see where that feed was, so I can just bolt that back in. You can only go in one place as well because of the way it's shaped, so that's good, and that's that mystery solved. Good morning everybody. New relay has arrived. That hopefully is the right part number. It's a slightly different design of case. It's bonded rather than clipped together, so I won't be able to open it up and have a look inside, but by all accounts that should work. I can't, well actually I might go and get the power probe and the multimeter and just check that it does do what I think it should do. I haven't actually done that yet. I've been busy doing other things, mostly sheltering from Storm Eunice, which came through last night. It was a week ago I last worked on this, so I'm going to remind myself what I was doing. And then actually it's rather exciting because I'm going to try, maybe if I'm feeling optimistic, start the car today, or try and just see what happens. So I need to do stupid things like just fill it with oil because it hasn't got any oil in it. I'm not going to bother putting coolant in it because I just want to check and see if it fires, but yeah, just idiot checks really, make sure I don't damage anything and give it a crank and see what happens. Yeah, luckily nothing fell off the roof and landed on my car, which is good, but it's going to rain about lunchtime and more gale force winds, so although it's calm now, in about 3 hours it's going to go mental again. We shouldn't have the 70-80 mile an hour winds, but we'll have 40 or 50, so better get cracking. So I've got my oil, a few bits and pieces like the dipstick tube, dipstick, a bit of a coolant rail. Got my Magnacore spark plug leads, made by Carol, so hopefully Carol did a good job. They can go on. It's all the stupid little things like you forget about, like I've just fitted that pipe there from the breather into the inlet. Yeah, so I'm not too worried about water or power steering. I'm just going to do electrics and oil and fuel, and then we'll see what happens. Quite a lot of this is now cobbled together. We've got oil, we've got a few things connected up, not everything. Haven't bothered with vacuum lines other than the what's it called, servo. That's really just to stop dirt getting in, but yeah, haven't bothered connecting up the accelerator cable. I have just remembered there's one thing that is a fly in the ointment. That is, up here is the inertia switch. That is in line with the output to the fuel pump. So although I might have the relay working, the feed goes up through that plug into the car. Somewhere it comes out of the bulkhead, goes into that plug, then back out again to the fuel pump. Problem is, I can't find the other end of the plug. It's somewhere probably still inside the bulkhead, and I've very cleverly covered it up with tape and that bulkhead insulation. I don't want to go digging around in there, so I need to go and find another car that has that, and then I can see where the wiring comes through. I thought it came through over there down those plugs, so I took the cover off and had a grope around. Can't find it from bulkhead side either, can't find any images on the internet. So I'm gonna connect up a battery and just see if it cranks. If it does, I'm gonna speed over to Mr. Furious Driving's house and see if I can have a look at his little green VI, which will have that and will have the wire somewhere. Yeah, report back in a moment. It's the first of a series of what are probably going to be squeaky bum times. I have my battery, I have the car mostly fastened up as far as I can think electrically. I'm not going to put the battery in the car because I don't room, so I'm just going to use jump leads across to the two terminals. I'm not wanting to, well, I'm not expecting it to start obviously because it won't get fuel, but I do want to just tap this. I'll probably connect the negative first. I think I've got all the earths on, but I don't know. So I'm not going to connect this up super strong. I'm just going to tap it and see if anything sparks. If it sparks, I don't know, I've got something that wants to draw a lot of current, possibly somewhere accidentally a direct feed to earth. So we'll just touch it and see. Good, no sparks. Right, so far nothing has caught fire. Can't see any smoke. That is charged, but it's not a very good battery, so it doesn't have a lot of cranking amps. It just has 12.8 volts, so it should be enough to turn the ECU on. Right, central. Oh, did I hear a click then, or was that just the wind? Right. Oh, we had central locking go then. No ABS. No, sorry. That's odd. No immobiliser light whatsoever, which suggests 5AS or whatever it's called isn't very happy. Let's see what happens when we just put the steering locks on. Can hear. Oh, is that the windscreen wiper? Yeah, it's the wipers. Right, so no click of the start relay. So round one to the car. Cock. Well, I'm a complete dumbass. Basically, I was getting no power here, couldn't understand it, and then remembered there's this massive, great, obvious plug which takes power from the fuse box into the loom. So that's what that was. So now I'm getting power here. So I'm going to disconnect this. Make sure. Oh, I've also found a fuse has blown in there, but it's one of the 10 amp fuses, and I don't know what it does because I don't have a workshop manual or an owner's manual for the car. So I'm just gonna have to wait and see, but I'm not going to plug it in yet. I don't think I blew it because it doesn't smell or do anything funny. Right, what am I doing? That's off. This needs to be plugged back in. Wait one. So we're going to connect the power again. This time it might do something different. Let's just see if it sparks. No, nothing. Good. Does a lot of central locking noises. Still no immobiliser light, which I'm slightly confused by. Oh, getting more noises in the engine bay. Well, it did try and throw the starter and then it stopped. I think that's low power more than anything else. So let's go and recharge that battery, maybe find another more manly battery. Out of sheer boredom and because I'm impatient, I just kept throwing the starter, and it does actually turn a bit, but it is very low. So that needs charging. I need probably a better battery, and I'll charge that as well. Lots of relay clicks, nothing staying on, no smoke, no fire, so I'm calling that a result. It's gonna rain soon. I'm gonna pack up all this crap. I'm gonna ring Matt from the Furious Driving channel, see if I can pop over and look at his car. He's away on holiday, and he's decided, as only Matt would, to go to the Isle of Lundy, which is in the middle of the Bristol Channel. And he told me that if the weather's bad, then they might not be able to get back off because the ferries or the helicopters or whatever won't be running. Bearing in mind we had the biggest storm since 1987 yesterday, and we've got another storm tonight. He might not be home yet, but before he went away, he did tell me that I'm more than welcome to go around and poke around in the engine bay of his car while he's away, so I might go and do that. Okay, well, some of you might recognise this place. We are in fact at Matt's house. I'm not going to do too much filming here, just really show you what I'm interested in, which is where the hell is the wire for that, and where does it come from, and where does it go to? That's the inertia switch that controls the fuel pump. If you have an accident, it pops up and cuts the fuel pump, so your severed brake lines don't pump fuel everywhere. Matt already took a look for me, tried to take some photos to help me out, but he couldn't find it either. So I'm going to dig around and see if I can find it, and then I shall report back. We have success. Contrary to what I thought, on Matt's car, it's in the engine loom. So that would have gone up there. Now what's very, very strange is my K-series engine loom, which came from a BRM, which is a VVC engine, same as Matt's VI, didn't have that plug. Obviously this is Matt's car, so I can't take it apart, but yeah, it would go into the main harness around up into here. Now it should find its way back into the car's engine bay somewhere else. Not through the ECU, maybe not even through the fuses, but somewhere else. So it's all very strange because mine doesn't appear to work in quite the same way, which is frustrating. So I'm going to have a further poke around and then I'll bugger off home and try and find a cunning solution before it pisses down with rain. This is getting even stranger. On Matt's car, you got yellow and green here. I don't think I've got that. I thought the yellow and green came out from the engine, went into that plug, went into the car loom, up to the plug, back again, and then out to the fuel pump, whereas this looks like it does something slightly different. So I'm very confused, but what I'm starting to think is I just need to find the wire that comes out of my MEMS relay, send it to the pump and stuff whatever Rover wanted to do, just do it myself. It is incredibly helpful that Matt has this car. I did ring him before I came round, and yes, he's still stuck on the Isle of Lundy. Not the best place to go for a holiday in the middle of storm season. Storm Eustace hit yesterday. We're going to have another storm today, and Matt can't get off the island, which I find quite funny, but it's pretty cool that you could be somewhere as extreme as that, middle of the Bristol Channel, in very, very heavy weather. So yeah, hopefully he gets back safe. Back from Matt's, it has started raining, which is very annoying. I'm just doing some checks just to satisfy myself that the output from the MEMS relay, which is the fuel pump relay, does just go on yellow-green to that plug and goes into the car. Then I'll find the car end and make sure it goes to the fuel pump. If I have continuity between them two, then it cannot have had an inertia switch, and this relay should just make the pump work. So, oh god damn it, look at the rain. Right, I'll get on with this. Probably won't feel much because it'll get wet. Okay, it's absolutely hammering it down, but I have made progress. All this time I've been worrying about that inertia switch, and you don't need it, because if I power that one, is that one? That one. Can I do this one-handed? Get fuel out there. So electricity and fuel, not a good idea. At least it's raining, so we shouldn't catch fire too badly. I shall now plug this back in. The injector loom is in, but it's not connected up because annoyingly it's in a really hard to get to place. I can't get the tails on the injectors. I think I'm gonna have to take the inlet manifold off again to get to that. Got water running right down my butt crack now, which is not fun. But at least I'm not stuck on the Isle of Lundy like Mr. Furious. That's on, that's on. I need a key. God damn it. Again, not going for full on start, I just want to be able to crank it, see if that switches the fuel pump on and whether I'm getting fuel out of there. So that's the next logical test. Oh yeah, and the immobiliser does seem to do something. Oh fuck. There we go, yeah. Yep, fuel is pissing out over there when I turn that. So theoretically, once I've plugged the injector loom back in, it should try and start. Again, that battery's really flat. What's pissing me off now is, as well as the wind is getting up, we've had a massive power cut, so I can't actually charge the battery. God damn it. Playing with cars has had to give way to fixing roofs, because this roof blew off last night. So me and my next door neighbour are trying to get it back together. It's getting really rather windy though. This isn't even the worst of it yet either. Fuck it up. Wind is definitely up now. A little bit different to car videos, but yeah, normally you can see the downs from over there. Not today. Fortunately, rain and wind has stopped way. Roof is temporarily repaired, but car will have to wait until hopefully tomorrow. The wind and the rain drops down a bit. The wind has dropped considerably and it's stopped raining. I found another battery. We still have a power cut, so I can't charge either of the batteries up. That one's showing green and 12.5 volts. And so I shall give it another crank and see what happens. Again, not expecting, well, I don't know what I'm expecting really. Quite pleased that that seems to be working. Yeah, that one again is very flat sounding. Just had another good idea. I put that battery in the car, put the terminals direct onto there, and then I've jumped that one, so I now have two batteries. I also replaced the 10 amp fuse that had blown in that fuse box. So what have I done with the keys? Come on. It does make some weird central locking noises. I don't really understand. Right, immobiliser is off. Yeah, well, it's certainly turning over faster. No idea if it's not firing because it hasn't got fuel yet because of the fuel injectors are new and all the rest of it, or whether it's because I haven't got spark or something, but don't know. This might have to wait for another day. Doesn't want to fire at all, does it? Right, maybe I will hook up the accelerator cable and just see if I can cough it into life with a bit more air. I also forgot that my fuel return I'd bodged onto nothing. I don't actually know whether it needs the pressure relief valve connected to vacuum. It should be doing something. But yeah, now I have working accelerator pedal, so I'm going to try cranking it with a bit of, whoops, a bit of accelerator as well. Mobiliser off. Oh, it fired! That is incredibly encouraging because in order to do that, it has to have had spark and fuel. This is looking good. 2 pops. Fuel gauge works. Oh, damn it. I think it's just battery. I need more cranking power. Oh, come on. Fuck me, am I a goddamn wiring genius. That is heroically cool. Come on, you want to live. Right, I'm calling that as a motherfucking victory for James. That, my friends, is a huge relief. Oh, that won't have been helping. Could have been bad. Right, I'm going to put the phone down. That could have been incredibly bad if that had actually earthed off. I don't think it could because that is all just supplied or supported on rubber. But yeah, close. Right, hold on. Well, man, am I proud of myself. That is pretty goddamn cool. It's a huge relief that that has at least fired because I can't be so wrong with the wiring. I can charge the batteries up, I can take the loom out now and tidy all of that rat nest of wiring up even more than it is, insulate it nicely, then I can do the cooling system, power steering, pump hoses to the rack. What else? ABS sensors on the front, exhaust. I think that's about it. And yeah, that is extremely exciting. I'm over the moon, so I'm gonna go reward myself with a beer and probably edit this video whilst it